Today let us learn electricity chapter. This is one of the important chapter in physics. Most of you find this chapter very difficult. So today I will be discussing all the important points under this chapter. Let's start with current. Current is represented as I. What is the formula for I? I is equal to Q by T. Most of you must be familiar with this formula. I is equal to Q by T. What is meant by Q? Q means charge and T means time. Now by looking at the formula itself, you can define current. How will you define current? Is amount of charge passing in an area per unit time is known as current. Next, you should know the SI unit of current. SI unit is ampere. There are smaller units also known as milliampere. 1 milliampere is equal to 10 raised to minus 3 ampere. The smaller units are essential for your problems. They'll give you in milliampere. Whenever in milliampere they're giving, you have to convert it into ampere. Why? Because SI unit is ampere. 1 milliampere is equal to 10 raised to minus 3 ampere. So whenever they give milliampere, you have to convert it into ampere. You have to multiply into 10 raised to minus 3. Next smaller unit is microampere. 1 microampere is equal to 10 raised to minus 6 ampere. You write micro like this. This symbol means it's micro. So 1 microampere is equal to 10 raised to minus 6 ampere. So learn this smaller units by heart. In problems, just to make it little difficult, they will give in milliamperes or in microamperes. That time you have to convert it. You have to use this term and convert it into ampere. Always the current should be in ampere. And this ampere is named after the scientist Andre Marie Ampere. You should know the name of the scientist. Next, charge. What is the unit for charge? Unit of charge is coulomb. Unit of time is second. Coulomb is represented as C. And second is represented as S. So C by S. Unit of charge is coulomb. Unit of time is second. Coulomb is represented as C. Second is represented as S. So I is unit will be C by S, that is equal to ampere. Next you should know what is meant by 1 ampere. 1 ampere means when the charge is 1 coulomb and time is 1 second, then we say current as 1 ampere. So the coulomb should be 1 coulomb. Time should be 1 second. Then the current will be 1 ampere. Now how will you define 1 ampere? 1 ampere is current when a charge of 1 coulomb flows per 1 second. So now it's easy to define 1 ampere, is it? 1 ampere is the current when a charge of 1 coulomb flows for 1 second. Is it clear till this all of you now? I is equal to Q by T. Q means charge, T means time. So amount of charge passing per unit time. SI unit is ampere. Smaller units milliampere is that is 10 raised to minus 3 ampere. Microampere is 1 microampere is equal to 10 raised to minus 6 ampere. Then current I is equal to C by S, that is charge is coulomb, time is second. 1 ampere means the current that when a charge of 1 coulomb flows for 1 second. Next you should know the instrument that is used to measure current. An instrument that is used to measure current is known as ammeter. This ammeter will always be connected in series. There are two types of connection. One is known as the series connection and the other one is known as the parallel connection. You will be learning later on. So this ammeter, how is it connected? It is connected in series. So these are the important points that you should know in this topic. Next comes the circuit diagram. This is the circuit diagram. You should learn this circuit diagram. How is the circuit? It's connected to a battery. You have a battery here. This is the positive terminal. This is a negative terminal. There is a key, bulb and then ammeter. See the connection. The current is flowing from positive terminal to the negative terminal. So you have to be very careful when drawing the arrow marks. You should go from the positive terminal to the negative terminals. Similarly, the connections. The positive terminal of ammeter connected, negative terminals will be here. You will get the questions in your exams showing the circuit diagram. They will give different types of circuit diagrams and you have to identify the current diagrams. That is the points that you have to see is in which direction the current is flowing. It should always flow from positive to negative. Then you should see the terminals of ammeter. Positive should be connected to the positive, negative should be connected to the negative. Then you have to see whether it is connected in series or in parallel. Ammeter should always be in series connection. And how is the current flowing? It is flowing from positive terminal to negative terminals. One more thing you have to learn is, you know that I is equal to Q by T. And this Q is equal to N into E, where N is the number of electrons and E is the charge of electrons. The value of N and E you have to learn. Value of N is 6 into 10 raised to 18 electrons. Charge of an electron is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19. Number of electrons is 6 into 10 raised to 18 electrons. You have to learn these two also. You will get it, choose the correct answer, or maybe one word answer also you will get. So Q is equal to N into E. N is value of N is 6 into 10 raised to 8 electrons. E is equal to 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19. Next, we will learn about potential difference. Potential difference is represented as V. V is equal to W by Q. Formula for V is equal to W by Q. W means work done. Q means charge. So what is V? V is equal to work done by charge. From the formula you can define potential difference. Potential difference between 2 points is the work done to move a unit charge from one point to another, from this point to another. So work done to move a unit charge from one point to another is known as potential difference. SI unit for potential difference is volt. And it is named after the scientist Alessandro Volta. You should know the name of the scientist, SI unit, and define potential difference. One more thing that you should know is what is meant by 1 volt. When the work done is 1 joule and charge is 1 C, potential difference will be 1 volt. So 1 volt is what? Work done will be 1 joule. Charge will be 1 coulomb. And the potential difference is known as 1 volt. So define 1 volt. When 1 joule of work is done to move 1 coulomb of charge from one point to another, potential difference is known as 1 volt. The instrument that is used to measure potential difference is known as voltmeter. Voltmeter is connected in parallel. Ammeter is connected in series. Voltmeter is connected in parallel. So these are the points that you should know under potential difference. Again, I will repeat potential difference. V is equal to W by Q, that is work done by charge. SI unit is volt. 1 volt means when 1 joule of work is done to move a unit charge from one point to another, the potential difference is known as 1 volt. It is measured by an instrument known as voltmeter, and it is always connected in parallel. Another thing that you should know is J by C. This they will ask the unit J by C stands for dash. What you will write? It will stand for potential difference. So these types of questions you will get in one word. Instead of J by C, I can also write it as J C minus 1. Both be the same. Whenever you are reading the chapter, you should always make sure that you are reading the minute details like this. Not only the main question, these types of questions you will get from the reader. Especially you will get in 1 mark questions. Potential difference is measured by an instrument known as voltmeter. There is one more instrument, just for your general knowledge I am giving you, galvanometer. Galvanometer is used to detect current in an electric circuit. So an instrument that is used to detect current in an electric circuit is galvanometer. So 3 meters you have learned: ammeter, voltmeter, galvanometer. Ammeter is used to measure current. Voltmeter is used to measure potential difference. And another instrument is the galvanometer. This is used to detect current, whether current is passing or not. That is detected by galvanometer. When you connect a circuit, you have to check whether the current is there in the circuit or not. That can be detected by galvanometer. What is the amount of current? It is used by ammeter. Voltmeter will give you the potential difference. Next we will see Ohm's law. Ohm's law will give you the relationship between potential difference and current. V and I. This relationship will be given by Ohm's law. According to Ohm's law, potential difference is directly proportional to current. V is directly proportional to I. And one condition is there, that is temperature should be constant. This you have to have. When temperature remains constant, potential difference is directly proportional to the current passing through it. This is known as Ohm's law. V is proportional to I. To remove this proportionality, we will use a constant. V is equal to I into R. Where R is a constant, this is known as the resistance. This constant is known as resistance. Now define Ohm's law. Ohm's law says that potential difference is directly proportional to current. Temperature remains constant. That is V is equal to remove the proportionality, we put constant R. V is equal to IR. R is called the resistance of the conductor. From resistance, then what will be R? R is equal to V by I. From this you can calculate R. R is equal to V by I. How do you define resistance? Resistance is the property of the conductor to resist the flow of charge. And its unit is ohm. You write ohm like this. Unit of resistance is ohm. Again, similarly, now you should know what is meant by 1 ohm. Try to explain what will be 1 ohm. And potential difference is 1 volt and current is 1 ampere. Resistance will be 1 ohm. Potential difference is 1 volt and the current passing through it will be 1 ampere. How is current related to resistance? Current is inversely proportional to resistance. That is, if the resistance is doubled, current will get half. You will get questions like that. What happens to the current if the resistance is doubled? A device that is used to change the resistance is known as rheostat. If we want to change the resistance, we will use this device. So a device that is used to change the resistance in a circuit is known as rheostat. So these are the points that you should know under Ohm's law. Ohm's law means V is proportional to I. That is, potential difference is directly proportional to the current passing through the conductor provided temperature remains constant. V is equal to IR where R is a proportionality constant. Remove the proportionality, we use a constant that is known as the R. R is known as the resistance of the conductor. It is constant for the given temperature, it is constant. For a given metallic wire, if the wire changes, resistance will change. So from this we can calculate what is R. R is equal to V by I. That is, R is inversely proportional to the current. Current is inversely proportional to resistance. For example, current becomes 2 ampere when the resistance is half. Then unit of resistance is ohm. You should know what is 1 ohm. 1 ohm means when the potential difference is 1 volt and the current passing through it is 1 ampere, the resistance is known as 1 ohm. And a device that is used to change the resistance is known as rheostat. Now let us see VI graph. VI graph means potential difference and current graph. Potential difference will be on the y-axis and current will be on the x-axis. According to Ohm's law, how is V related to I? V is directly proportional to I. As V increases, I also will increase. So the graph will be a straight line. You will get like this. As I increases, V also will increase. And the slope of this graph will give you the resistance. Slope means what? This one. The slope will give you the resistance. You will get questions for problems like this. Find the resistance from the graph. How will you find the resistance? You have to take the V2. This is the V2. V2 and this point will be V1. Corresponding current you have to take. This current will be I2. This current will be I1. So from the graph, how can you find the resistance? R will be equal to V2 minus V1 divided by I2 minus I1. What is the formula for R? R is equal to V by I. So how can you find the resistance from the graph? When they give the graph, any 2 points, you can mark it, the big one as V2, the other one as V1, and the corresponding current you have to take, I2 and I1. The resistance will be equal to V2 minus V1 divided by I2 minus I1. This is known as potential difference current graph. And how is resistance related to current? Resistance is inversely proportional to current. If resistance is doubled, what will happen to the current? Current will become half. So learn this type of questions you will get for your exams. Another important point that you have to remember in this topic is rheostat. What is the use of a rheostat? It is used to change resistance in the circuit. Next is resistor. Resistor is used to increase or decrease electric current. If you want to increase electric current or decrease electric current, resistors will be used. Increase or decrease. Next is variable resistance. Variable resistance is used to regulate the current without changing voltage. So rheostat is an instrument that is used to change resistance. Resistor is used to increase or decrease electric current in a circuit. Variable resistance is used to regulate current.
Based on the resistance, materials can be classified as good conductors and bad conductors.
Low resistance means good conductor. High resistance means poor conductor. Next we will see what are the factors that will affect the resistance of the conductor. Resistance will depend upon length. It is directly proportional to length. R is directly proportional to length. It is inversely proportional to area of cross section. So now combining both, how we can write? R is proportional to L by A. To remove this proportionality, we can use a constant that is known as rho. Rho into L by A. This rho is a constant that is known as resistivity of the material. So what are the factors on which the resistance of the conductor depends upon? It depends upon the length, it depends upon the area of cross section, and it also depends upon the nature of the material. What type of material also it will depend. So regarding this length and area, how will you do? R is proportional to length. R is inversely proportional to area of cross section. So R is proportional to length by area. To remove this proportionality, we use a constant that is known as rho. Rho is known as the resistivity of the material. SI unit of resistivity is ohm meter. These SI units you have to learn, you will get these questions. Resistivity is the characteristic property of the material. Each material will have particular resistivity. So based on the resistivity, the materials will be used for electrical purposes. For example, metals has got low resistivity. So metals like copper. Copper is generally used in electrical transmission. So electrical wires, it contains copper. Why? Because it has got low resistivity. Current can easily pass through them. They are good conductors of electricity. So copper will have low resistivity. When compared to metals, alloys will have high resistivity. What are alloys? Alloys are a combination of metals. So alloys will have higher resistivity in compared to metals. For this purpose, alloys are used in heating devices like iron box and electrical heaters and all. They use alloys. Instead of pure metals, why do we use alloys in heating elements? Because the resistivity is high when compared to metals. They have high resistivity when compared to metals. Second point is they do not oxidize even at high temperature. That means they do not burn at high temperature. So these 2 points you will have to write why alloys are used in heating devices rather than metals. Another material that you are going to learn is tungsten. Tungstens are used in electric bulbs. Why? Because here also tungsten has got high resistivity and high melting point. So it will not burn at high temperature. Instead it will glow. So it helps to give us light. So reason why tungsten is used is high resistivity and high melting point. These 3 questions you will get from this topic. It's an important questions. So why copper is used in electrical transmission? Because it has got low resistivity. It is a good conductor of electricity. So it can conduct electricity. Then why alloys are used? Because it has got high resistivity compared to metal and do not oxidize at high temperature. Why tungsten is used in electric bulbs? Because it has got high resistivity and a high melting point. I hope you understood till this. Let's see some of the questions that is given in your reader. The factors on which the resistance of the conductor depends upon. So it depends upon length, it depends upon the area of cross section, the nature of the material and also temperature. Will current flow easily through a thick wire or a thin wire of the same material? What is the answer you will write? Resistance is inversely proportional to area of cross section. When the area of cross section increase, R will decrease. So when R decreases, current will increase. Because by Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. R is equal to V by I. So R is inversely proportional to current. What is the answer you will write? Resistance is inversely proportional to area of cross section. So as area increases, resistance will decrease. If resistance decreases, what happens to the current? current will increase. So resistance decreases, current will increase. So these 2 points you have to write. As the area of cross section increases, resistance will decrease. So by Ohm's law, as the resistance decreases, current will increase. Current will increase in thick wire. Take the next question, third one.
Let the resistance of an electrical component remains constant while the potential difference across the two ends of the component decreases to half its former value. What change will occur in the current through it?
So what they are saying, resistance remains same. So R is the same. R doesn't change. The potential difference across the two ends of the component decreases to half. What happens to V? V will become half. V becomes half. So what will happen to I? V is directly proportional to I. So V becomes half. I will also becomes half. Next question. Why are the coils of electric toaster and electric ions made of alloy rather than pure metal? Already we have discussed this answer. The answer is alloys has got high resistivity when compared to metals. They do not melt at high temperature. I hope you understood this topic. If you have any doubts, you can write in the comment box.